rise. It's time to rise. Unleash the power deep inside, strong and fierce. You're not alone. Together we'll make our presence known. We're the women ready to roll. Oh yeah. Build the myths, life and sisterhood. Oh yeah. We'll conquer all just like we should. Roll, lioness.
Hey everybody, we are back here today live with the Pride and Purpose podcast, and I have no other than the author of the Sullied Bride, Miss Jasmine Andrews, and I am so excited to be in here talking with Jasmine. In the studio earlier, we were just sharing how we have been sharing with this book probably for about 6 years now. It was the first time I met Jasmine, and I am just, when she said that she wanted to share her story, I was like, yes. We've had some little hiccups, but we are here today, and I'm so excited to be with her. Jasmine, welcome. Welcome, Jasmine, to the Pride and Purpose podcast. So can you start by telling us what inspired you? What inspired you to write The Sullied Bride?
Well, I never set out thinking I was going to write nonfiction. I was always into the fiction and even like sci-fi fantasy. But as I was attending a congregation and I started learning more about the Bible and studying it, I really started to notice that there were things about women that were being misrepresented in the church. And I just wrote an essay about some of the issues that came up. And then it became a second essay, and then a third, and then a fourth. And then by the time I got to 5, I realized this is a book. I have a whole book here. And so I just was inspired because I wanted people to know, I wanted women specifically to know how their worth and their value, because a lot of people can get hung up on some of the things that are misrepresented in a church setting, and it will cause them to somewhat turn away from the Bible, turn away from Messiah, because they're sitting there saying, well, obviously a man wrote that. A man wrote that to submit. A woman brought sin into the world. And so I didn't want anybody to miss out on their salvation because of these misrepresentations.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Making sure that everybody gets the story in their own way, just like Jesus would want us to.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I have a question for another question. Of course, I have tons of questions for you tonight. Okay. Hopefully we'll get through all of them. But also, what challenges did you face when deciding to take on such a well-known biblical story and give it a new perspective? Because it's a new perspective. And like you're saying, a lot of women, they looked at the Bible differently. The views and the viewpoints from other women, it was different. You know, the submission of women, the way the women were treated, and things of that nature. So what challenges did you face? Because this is a whole new perspective, a whole new perspective.
All of them, really. So the first challenge was myself, because I had to somewhat get into the boldness, because I didn't want to be a blasphemer. You know, I didn't want to be a heretic. So I wanted to make sure that when I said something, it was 100% correct, that I wasn't just saying something different because I was deviating from the correct path. I wanted to make sure I was saying something different because what was being taught was wrong. So that was the first thing. I had to develop the boldness to actually speak out, and once I received a revelation, stand on it. And then the next challenge would be just like when Yeshua, Jesus, as he's known in English, he told a parable about you don't put new wine in old wineskins or else they'll burst. And then people say the old wine is good enough. And there's a real incentive for people to just kind of continue to do things exactly the way they've done them before, because they don't see anything wrong with what is been done in the past. And so, and one of the scriptures that's covered in the book, in Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 21 or 22, depending on the translation you're reading, it says the Lord is going to do a new thing. And so this new thing is the woman will compass the man. And so these revelations, although these are things that go way back to the beginning in the garden, it it's a new thing in the terms of the actual execution of how this is going to happen and what God's plan is for women to be this mighty army. So the challenge was just first myself being confident that I'm not just, spouting off in a sense of rebellion, but just that this is a real revelation and this is what God wants for myself and other women. And then the second thing is the resistance that people have to change.
Wow, I love it. I love it. And all that you said encompasses that women matter. Women
Yes.
matter.
Yes, we
Women
do.
matter. And the thing is that you're sharing that in such a powerful way. Because like you're saying, you did not want to be seen as a blasphemer and things like that. Because when you're dealing with the Bible, and if you dare say, "Oh, that's not right," "Oh, she said the Bible was wrong,"
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you look at it, and when you look at God is and who Jesus is and what the Bible entails, we are left out a lot. I mean,
Yes.
they didn't cook that Last Supper by themselves. Somebody was in that
Right.
kitchen,
Yes. Yeah.
okay, and that food came out. It didn't walk out, okay, and it didn't make itself. But we're never mentioned, and it's never told of the great impact that women had on the Bible. Yeah, we hear about Deborah, and how she ran that war. I mean, we hear those things when of the things that they want us to hear. And so I'm so glad that you're here tonight and you're sharing this, and that you made that point, that women matter. We marry, we matter, we matter, we matter. Now, I wanted to ask you this. The Sullied Bride, it presents a profound narrative of betrayal and recovery. What message do you hope your readers take away from Eve's story?
Well, I would hope that women start to value themselves when they hear the story, because I don't believe Eve really valued herself. Because when Adam turned and said, "Well, this woman you gave to be with me gave me the fruit," he was clearly shifting all the blame to her, and that's a betrayal in their relationship. And instead of just turning to him and, you know, kind of looking at him like, how could you say that? How could you do this to me? Why did you want God to just kill me and leave you alive? I mean, is that what you wanted? I want women that in the face of betrayal to not continue to sympathize with the betrayer, to recognize it as this is betrayal and you deserve better than to be defending your betrayer.
That's that's a sermon in itself. I'm gonna just leave that right there, because a lot of times we do that not knowing our worth, and it's so
Yes.
important for us as women ready to roar in our group and women everywhere to know your worth, because when you start defending your betrayer, you start to defend your codependents and
Mm.
your bosses who neglect you, and other people who don't know your worth. And then even us as business owners, our prices never change, or we don't feel like we can do the ask because we're not worthy of the ask, because we don't know our worth. So you hit on so many topics in that little area right there, and how we don't need to do that. That's powerful. That's a powerful word. Powerful word right there. Well, in your novel, Eve's experiences with despair and hope are deeply human. This is something that we're all dealing with. How important was it for you to portray these emotional depths? Because it got emotional in there.
Yes.
But how important was it for you to do that, though? Why did you do that? And how important was it for you to do that?
Right, because women, we get the label of emotional. And the thing is, your emotions are valid, but you can't be ruled by them either, because emotions can either make you make bad decisions, but also when they're not validated, they can also make you emotionally blunted and then accepting of abuse. So when Adam betrayed Eve, the emotions that you feel from that, you can't just like cut yourself off from those emotions, or else you're going to continue to let this person abuse you and talk down to you, devalue you and everything. But your emotions also are not your master. You can overcome. That's the message of hope, that You might have felt all of these things and you might have experienced the betrayal, but the feelings matter so that you don't have to continue to put up with the betrayal. But then the feelings don't rule you, because the scripture says about cast all your anxieties upon him, cast all your anxieties on God, take it to God, and God redeems you. And that was the first promise in Genesis 3:15, that there will be enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the snake, and that he will crush his head and bruise his heel as he's doing it. And so the deliverance, that seed is Messiah, which came from the seed of the woman. That's the virgin birth. That is the immaculate conception. That is the seed that comes without the corruption of Adam. And through that Messiah, you can be redeemed of all of the things that Adam did. That's why Yeshua, Jesus, is the second Adam, because he came and did all the things that Adam, the first one, failed to do.
Girl. I love, we did this the first time too.
Yes.
But I just love this story. I mean, I love the way you depict the story. It's truth. It's just some people can't handle it, and that's their business. But it's the truth.
Yeah, some
And I
people can't
love
handle the truth.
they can't handle the truth. You know what? A lot of people can't handle the truth. But but if you want to know about the truth, even the word says how the truth will set you free. But the thing is that when we understand the truth, we understand who we are. And that's
Yes.
what I believe. And I'm just saying, the Sullied Bride to me is a way for women to help them to open their eyes to who they are and what's going on in this. I'll just say it like that, okay?
Yes.
And leave it at so. But you have to get the book. She breaks it down. Go on Amazon and read the reviews. What I love most, there's the book. What I love most about, even in the reviews and when you read it, Jasmine sits there and you can tell that this is scriptural and biblically based. I mean, she is breaking down the word and she is telling it like she sees it from a woman's point of view. And because it is different, when we look at the word from a woman's point of view, it's different when you dig deep. And like I said, in the depths of this story, she brings out the emotions, she brings out the feelings, she brings out things that we may not want to know. And that was truly a betrayal. So I love how you say the second Adam. How that he
Yes.
had to come here and fix what was done by the first
Yeah.
and it's true. It's so true. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But let me ask you this. Can you describe your research? Because, like I said, this is so biblically based, and she breaks this down. Even in some of her reviews, the individuals are saying how this author is so the biblical knowledge. And they would love to hear more from her about different things in the Bible and Bible knowledge and things like that. But can you describe your research process and how did you blend biblical elements with non-fictional creativity to craft this story?
Yes. So my Bible research started with mostly reading the Bible, because you'd be surprised how many people are sitting in a pulpit and they're not reading the
Mm.
Bible. And so there is this there's this journaling from this book called The Divine Mentor, and it's based off of this man. It put the Bible somewhat in order, and it starts at Genesis, and then as you're reading and you get into the Kings, and it puts the prophet with that. And so you just read a couple chapters every day, and then with the journaling, you write a scripture, an observation, an application, and a prayer. So from the process of doing that, it was just part of my daily routine. Just like you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you eat your breakfast, and the journaling is part of that. Just do your Bible reading. And I just started getting these different revelations just from reading the source material and just putting things together. Like you just start to see things, and just the Lord starts to reveal things to you. And then I've also studied a little bit of Hebrew. And so with going from English and looking at learning the different things about the Hebrew and the language, you start to fill in the gaps of some of the things that you miss in translations and some of the things that were purposely omitted in translations. And I would say it's definitely purposeful, because one of the things in Sullied Bride that's covered is it talks about the creation of the woman, and people translate it as helpmate. But accompanying the word help is the word neged, which means to contend or support. So there's a lot more to what the woman's role is than what's being presented in English as helpmate, when really she's there to contend, not the same thing as being contentious, but to stand and either support a godly man or contend and oppose an ungodly man.
It's like literally we were created to stand in the gap.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, girl, you got me going off my seat. Okay, I'm gonna let you tell this story, because it's so true. Everything that you're saying is so true, because even when I read the Quran as well as the Bible, and I do this, and I read a lot of different things, because you want to study other religions, not just your own.
Yes.
Not saying that you're you're that religion, or you're serving their God or anything of that nature, but it's just like if you're in business, right?
Mhm.
You want to know your competitor. You want to know
Yes.
what they're selling, what they're doing, so that you can stay relevant, to what's going on. And in this day and time, these are the last days. I don't care what nobody says, these are the last days. In the last days, we have to be knowledgeable of the word, so that we can teach and preach the word, so that everyone knows who Jesus is, so that we're all prepared when he comes back. So when you're studying these things, and when you're researching, like you said, you learn your Hebrew, and in the translation, it's different from what we're hearing, because even in languages, and as we speak different languages and go to different countries, what they may mean as something, we may mean it as something else. So you have to learn, when you're talking about where the Bible comes from, and where it originated from, and the language that it was written in, what it was translated. It would be nice to know to know the language that it was translated from, so that
Yes.
we can make sure the wording is correct, and the meaning of these words mean what we are interpreting them to mean. That's why it says to study and show thyself approved. So,
Yes,
Jasmine,
ma'am.
you have studied, and oh gosh, I'm so thankful. Anyway, let me ask you some more questions, because I'm going off into my tangent here. But what part of the book was the most challenging to write, and why?
Um, I would say the the section that covers abuse, as in terms of the sexual abuse, that has been very prevalent in the Bible, and also just prevalent because um at the time I was having these terrible night terrors, which is kind of was like as I was writing it, and well, it was before I was actually writing it, and then it was kind of piecing that together. That was the hardest part to write, because it's just so awful, the things that were done and never addressed, and then the devaluation of women so that they don't pursue justice in these issues, because they if you devalue the person, then justice isn't going to be something that people would consider valid to pursue. So that was definitely the hardest part, and it made me angry too, and I would say it was more of a righteous indignation, because it shouldn't you shouldn't just be fine. You shouldn't just read something like that and then just go on and be like, oh well, let's just talk about faith. It's like, no, let's address these crimes and do something about it. So that was definitely the hardest part. It was the third chapter when I originally was writing the essays. It is the last chapter in the book before the conclusion.
Mm. It is true. But Jasmine, if I could say, um, we still do that today.
Yes, yes, we do.
When it comes to abuse and things of that nature, we tend to sugarcoat things.
Mhm.
We don't say the words
Yeah.
that we should say when it's dealing with these things. Now they're beeping them out on TV, and they're beeping out the SX
Yes.
word, and
Yeah.
they're beeping out the E word, and it's just they're beeping out everything, because they don't want to say what's truly happening to these people. And when you don't speak those things, it lessens the situation. It lessens the impact that it may have on other people who may be looking from the outside. And so the thing is that when we don't address certain things, they build up and they fluster, and it's like having a wound. And if you don't clean it, and if you don't deal with it, it'll get infected. And if it
Yes.
get infected, the pus spoils over and may go into other things. And I think that's what's happening even from that word, where we're not addressing the issues that have happened in the Bible, where we're just going on and, like you said, we're just saying have faith and keep it moving. But we're not dealing with what has happened over 3,000 years ago now, because we've been saying 2,000 for about 1,000 years. But it's been a long time, and we're not dealing with that. And even now in today's time,
Right.
from ex-presidents being accused, from movie stars and music moguls and stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's another one of those. And no one's really addressing it because we haven't dealt with it from the beginning of time,
Yes.
and it's just gone on. And so thank you for bringing those issues to the table, bringing it up so that we can start to deal with those, so that we as women today can heal.
Yes. Yes. We
So
need that.
that's all I'm feeling. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, I have a couple more questions for you. Since the release of Sullied Bride, what kind of response have you received from your readers?
It's been either very positive or very negative. It's I focus on the positive ones because the readers who have accepted it, they have really been delivered and they see the value of themselves after reading the book. The negative ones are just the people who want the old wine. They don't want to address the past iniquities. They want to just keep things as they are and just brush it under the rug. So it's I suppose it's kind of polarizing is the word, that it's either just people love it or they are just completely opposed to it.
Well, I know that you have some amazing reviews. Like you said, you may have one that was opposed, but the reactions that I've received and what I have seen have been truly positive. When you come with an open mind,
Yes.
you know read it with an open mind, and to take it for what it's worth, and understanding the scriptures, and like you're saying, study, and you're giving individuals the opportunity to study. You're not saying that this is it. You're having them read the book. You can refer to the scriptures, you can go and research, and you can do that yourself to see how true and what this truly is, what it sees, and what's going on in these particular scenes, in these particular stories, biblically as well as today. A lot of times when we look at the word, we can see today. You can see today's times. It's not just that we're in the church of Laodicea, but you can actually see what's happening now that was already prophesied years ago. And actually revelations is coming to pass. So individuals who may not be able to see that or don't want to see it,
You don't
may
want
give
to.
you
That's a very
eggs. That's it right there,
that's
right?
hitting it
That's it
right
right
on the
there.
head.
That's right there on the head. They don't want to see it. You may have a different perspective, but you have done your research and you have done it. I mean, I can't even. Y'all have to get the book. Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. I want to ask you this question: have you heard from readers who felt a personal connection to Eve's story? And could you share an example, maybe?
I mean, I believe so. Like, because if women who have been in abusive marriages, this is something that they notice the signs of. Now, women who haven't been through it, they can read the book and clearly understand it. But for women who have, it's personal because the act of stonewalling, the
Mm,
passive aggressive behaviors, these are all things that Adam exhibited. And it's subtle. It's not something that was just right in your face, something that people could easily detect. That's what the whole revelation of the Sullied Bride is the subtle way that Adam shifted the blame, or the subtle way that Adam, he didn't say anything while the snake was deceiving her, and Adam was there with her the entire time.
come on.
So it was a very subtle way of sabotaging. And so women who've been in an abusive relationship understand that it's a subtlety, like the way the abuser presents himself as either a victim, because sometimes when men are abusive, they will go and say that they're the victim. They'll say that she was irrational, she's, hysterical, she was manipulative. They'll say these types things, and people will believe that narrative. So the women who have experienced abuse, they can see this playing out in Eve's story, and it's somewhat of, or not somewhat, it is the start for oppression of women right from the start.
Mm. Whew. Lord have mercy. That's deep. That is so, so deep. But I want to ask you about personally. How has writing Sullied Bride impacted your own views on faith, forgiveness, and resilience?
I think it broke down some barriers for me, because like I said, when I was a teenager, I looked in the Bible and I saw that scripture about wives submit to your husbands, and I was like, well, this can't be true, because why would the Bible say that? It doesn't make any sense at all. And then so there was, even when I had come to Yeshua, Jesus, it was a barrier there, because I felt like this something's not right. But through breaking this down, and then also even later finding out that the word submit was added when the scriptures were translated into English, this whole process of just not only writing Sullied Bride, but putting it out there and continuing to learn more about the woman's role and her worth, it broke down barriers between me and God, because I didn't see myself as a subordinate or lesser to anybody.
That's personal growth.
Yes.
That's what it is, and that's personal growth for all of us. We shouldn't. I feel like a lot of women, hearing this, hopefully you'll start to identify yourself as someone who is not just another person that is to be less counted for, or a less, or a or just demean. It's just a lot of times women go through such demeaning things, and we
Yes.
don't even like a lot. We just go okay, and we're just, we're hum, or we're quiet, or we're meek,
Yeah.
of all of these things, and that's what people say, and people can carry on these conversations. They can talk around us or about us, and we know how to. We literally know how to just turn our cheek. But there's sometimes that we have to learn to grow and have that personal growth, where we begin to grow and speak for ourselves, speak up for ourselves, and realize our value and our worth, and know that, like I said in the beginning, that we do matter. And so I'm so grateful, for you. And I could see the personal growth on you. I could see your growth from the time you first started the book to now. And so I just wanted to tell you how proud I am of you, my lovely lioness. You are roaring, you are looking amazing, and you are doing this. And I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Well, I wanted to ask you this before we get ready to go. I have about a couple more questions for you. Are there any more projects or books you are currently working on that continue to explore similar things?
Yes. So there are books, I can't talk about them right now,
It's
but there's been films, and the films, they're not necessarily directly based off of Sullied Bride, but the themes in the films are the application of it. And my most recent film, it's a faith-based film called Then Sings My Soul. And it's about these 7 women who discover that their lives are interconnected as they find deliverance. And the theme of the movie is justice is a ministry, because it goes through these different women and their stories and the things they experience. And it shows the importance of justice. There's been a focus on forgiveness, because you can't harbor these things inside you forever. You do have to release it and let it go. But a lot of times forgiveness is being pushed as though that's the solution to everything. And it's, you have to include justice too, because you can't just let these things happen and not do anything about it. And that way, there's part of the forgiveness process. Justice is essential to that. So the film Then Sings My Soul follows these women. It tells their story, and they do experience deliverance as they experience justice, and then they, you know, come to Yeshua, and it's just a really it covers some serious topics, but it's a movie of hope. It's a story that shows that, you know, you don't just praise in spite of your situation, that the Lord will deliver you from your situation, and you are praising because he has made you whole.
Yes. Woo. And you know what? I always say that there's deliverance in your praise.
Yes.
And you know, and that's what the deliverance, what you're looking forward to getting to. That's what you're worshiping about. That's what you're praising, because you can see yourself with your. It's like my mom used to say this when she had cancer too. She would say that she is looking like what she's going to, not what she's going through. And
Yes.
I think that's exactly what you're speaking of, and how we as women should be praising for what we're going to, not what we're in the midst of. So I thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Well, the movie that you're talking about, is the movie already out, or is it something that we
Yes.
can watch now, or where can we watch it? Netflix or
Yes.
movie
Then
theaters?
Sings My Soul. We had the premiere. The film has won for Best Ensemble Cast at the Virginia Black Film Festival. I won for Best Cinematography and Best First Time Actress at the World Music and Independent Film Festival. And Then Sings My Soul is available on Amazon Prime, or you can watch it on Tubi TV for free with ads. So Then Sings My Soul is out there. It's something that you can watch. It's right there, Amazon or Tubi. Then Sings My Soul.
Awesome, awesome. We will be watching that. I think the Women Ready to Roar group, we could do a watch night, you know, where
That
we
would
actually
be
put it in the group.
amazing.
That'll be great.
Yes.
Let's try that. I like that. I like that. We'll do
Yes.
a watch night on Then Sings My Soul. Look for that. Look for that. Look for that. Well, in closing, if our listeners want to learn more about you and your work, where can they find you online? And
I
then
can
also, where can get the book?
Yes. Sullied Bride is available wherever books are sold. So Sullied Bride is on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. If you just type in Sullied Bride, you will see where you can find it. You can find updates about me and the different projects I'm doing with Sullied Bride Productions at www.sulliedbride.com. That's SULLIED Bride BRIDE.com. Sulliedbride.com.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jasmine, any final thoughts you'd like to share with the women of our Women Ready to Roar group?
I would just in line with the theme of the lioness, like remember that when you're a lion, you know, just because you're a female lion, nobody's gonna be like, oh, that's just a female lion. I don't have to worry about that. No, you are a lion, so you stand and don't defer your authority, and you recognize yourself as a lion, and you're not going to be treated any less than a male lion.
I love it. I love it, because we're the ones who hunt.
Yes, it's
We're
mostly
the
the
ones
female lions that
we
hunt
do
and
everything.
do all the work. You
We
know, the
do
male lion, he might
everything.
have that fabulous hair and all that. That's great. But you know, we're women lions. We really take care of everything.
We take care of everything. And that's one of the main reasons, Jasmine, that we are called. That's why I named the group the Women Ready to Roar. Because you're talking in essence, it's similar to the Sullied Bride, where you have this lioness in the kingdom, and the lion is known as the king of the jungle. And you have this lioness, though, coordinates with different women lioness. You have a lioness who hunts. You have a lioness who takes care of the kids. You have a lioness who actually stands guard. Each of them have their own position. Each of them have their own responsibilities, but they're taking care of the kingdom. They're taking care of all of those in their pride. And so that's what's important. They hunt, they bring the food. A lot of them bring that food back, give it to
Mm-hmm.
their children, give it to the lion. They eat when everybody else is finished, but they are the ones to make sure that everything is taken care of, and they're taking care. And that's what we're doing here. We're
Yes.
making sure that every woman is taken care of. We're bringing in individuals like Jasmine and Lynn and other guests that are coming on, sharing their stories, sharing their empowerment, things that they have that can empower us to keep us going. So, Jasmine, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And I cannot wait to that watch party. And you have to be right there because
Yes.
you're going to have to be talking to us. And as we stop, we're going to have like a little discussion and everything like
Yes.
that. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again for coming, joining us here in the Women Ready to Roar group. But Jasmine, there's something that I do at every show. And it's something that I want you to tell these women to do. We have to continue. Get those fingers up, Jasmine. Get them up. Get them up. Get them up.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have to continue. We have to continue to or
That's right.
our way to success. Come on. Yes. Again, Jasmine, thank you for coming on the Pride and Purpose podcast for the Women Ready to Roar group. And y'all get that book, Sullied Bride, and we will be making sure that we have that watch party. There's that Sullied Bride, but we're going to have that watch party as well. Jasmine, thank you so much again for joining us here tonight on the Women Ready to Roar Pride and Purpose podcast. God bless you, my sister, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
You welcome. You welcome.
Oh, yeah. Building this life is sisterhood. Oh, yeah. We'll conquer all just like we should. Roar, lioness, show your might. Stand tall, fight the fight. We're the voices of empowerment. Together we'll make the world